Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. Today we're in the office. We're going to talk about forward planning the next generation of Chevy Silverado. Now, this typically will happen in the 1500 first, and then a year or so later, it'll come out in the HD. Before we get too far into this, if you guys don't mind smashing the subscribe button, help the small channel out, thumbs up, notification bell so you know I'm posting new content, and head over to the channel and check out all kinds of stuff. Now, as you guys have known, I've told you, I worked in the car industry. I've been such a car nut for almost my entire life, and the trend is mid-model refreshes or a brand new platform or brand new everything, look and everything. So as you guys know, the Silverado 1500 was refreshed back in 20. Shortly after that, the Silverado HD came out. Same thing with the Sierra. And then shortly after that in 2024, they got a mid-model refresh, which was a change in the grille, a couple things here and there. But the Chevy Custom and GMC Pro still carry over the previous interior from before that. So now you guys are wondering, and I've said this before, it is unlikely of a manufacturer to introduce a truck 23 Super Duty, all new looking, all new interior. I didn't anticipate that changing until 2026. 3 years is pretty early. Usually it runs 4. Sometimes it can run longer. If you're a Ram, you'll just change a few things inside and a few skins and maybe a grill and some taillights, and you'll keep the same truck from 2010 in theory. So basically what is announced is the new Chevy Silverado 1500. It always comes out in the 1500 first because the 15s are the most popular, or half-ton are the most popular model to sell. So most people don't need HDs, although you see companies and everything out there with HDs. The general consumer predominantly buys 1500 or half-ton trucks. So it is basically now known that GM plans on refreshing the platform and everything of the 1500 in 2027. So what does that usually mean for us? Well, it means basically for 2026, you're going to get the same Silverado 1500, same Silverado 2500, 3500, and Sierra sister trucks the same. And really what they'll do is they'll usually find out what colors aren't selling well and drop a few colors. So they do have 2 new colors coming out in 2026. White Frost Tri-Coat will be replaced by Glacier White Tri-Coat. So usually what they do is they take the pearl, the almond pearl out and put it bright, and then a couple years later they'll switch it back. And then they're also going to introduce Thunderstorm Gray, which looks beige to me. They haven't had a beige in the lineup, as far as I can remember, for at least a little bit. My dad was a huge fan of those beigeish browns and everything. So as for the GMC heavy duty, same engines, no change in power plants. I know a lot of people said that they were hoping that the L8T would come out with just a little bit more power. Both of them produce plenty of power for my needs up to the certain point where they max out on towing point. And that's the same with every manufacturer. The Duramax is back, so there's no Mega Max or whatever the hell they were calling that new Duramax that's supposedly coming out. I don't see that happening. GM is only going to offer those 2 engines in the 3/4 ton and heavy duty 1 ton. And then in addition to that, when it comes down to the 1500, there is speculation they're going to introduce a new V8. Obviously, GM's going to probably want to rebrand the 6.2 as something different. Saying it's all new after the woes they've had the last few years. Just go back to calling it Vortec and go back to the reliability of those GM. So when it comes down to the L8T, still a really good engine. I think in theory, if GM would drop a 410 in there, it'd give the capabilities of a little bit better towing with the gas, although they're excellent. There is a benchmark where all these manufacturers meet that their truck is rated at. Although I believe you probably can go 10 to 20% over that, you do have to worry about warranty concerns. So they're basically saying that production for the 2026 will start around August of this year. So obviously that's not too far away, but it's going to still be on the GM T1 platform. It's going to happen in Michigan, probably the Oshawa plant, if I'm saying that right, Oshawa in Canada, for the Chevys. But yeah, 2027 is going to be the 1500 redo, if you will. And I think the 1500 now is super sharp. I know a lot of people don't like some of the Silverado trim level grills and stuff. They think they're kind of fugly. So, that is a possibility. So if that indeed means, and that's what I said, is 3 years is pretty quick for any manufacturer to redo the whole truck, especially because they're selling so well. why even bother? Because Ram's not bothering to change much with theirs to really reinvent the wheel if you're already doing record numbers. But if that is on par, then 2028 will be the model year that we see the new HD. And I think that's right on par. If they're going to tweak anything with the LAT, if they're going to do anything with the Duramax to spike numbers, because everybody's in a numbers race. And I really think if they just offered a couple different rear ends like Ford does, an a la carte rear end ratio that gives you better towing capabilities, I think that would definitely bump it a little bit. And then I also just think that the 410 would help with the 6.6 LAT to give it a little bit more towing ability. Obviously, if they're not going to bump the power, that's fine. But yeah, I'm not surprised that this came out off GM Authority that is the range. And I think if 24 was the mid-model refresh, then 28 makes 3 to 4 years. And that's why I've always said is you just don't see it of saying, oh, cool, well, it's the Silverado 1500s looks good in 24, 25. Let's refresh it all. It's all going to be all new for 26. They got a lot of product on the ground they got to get rid of. So that is basically the information that we have. So those of you thinking 26 is going to be the year the GM's going to change it, I honestly don't even think Ford's going to change much. Maybe a little bit with the grill and stuff. But other than that, I honestly think that 27, 28, I think 27 is going to be Ford's year. Ford usually tries to spur it a year ahead of GM on introducing a new truck. And in 27, that model version will be around for about 4 years. So I guess it makes a little bit sense. I think it's going to be more of a mid-model refresh versus a whole new truck. And because the Super Duties are selling well, the GM trucks are selling well. So I just don't see it. So as always, guys, that is the hot news about the new Chevy HDN 1500. So if you're looking to buy, you may want to snag a deal on a new 24 if they're available, or a new 25 when the 26s start dropping, because they're not going to change enough. So it may benefit you to save some moolah when they get those discounts and rebates in and buy one of those. As always, guys, appreciate you guys being here, and I'm going to catch you on the next one.